Welcome to From the Concession Stand, a look at the best offerings coming straight from streaming. I'm your host, Brian Cottington, join my lovely co-host, Laine. Hey, how's it going?
Good. Excited to discuss all that streaming has to offer.
Yes, in a video format.
Right?
Video
We're
format.
on the YouTubes, kids.
We're on the YouTubes and also on the audio for those of you who are listening to this.
For some of you, nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
No.
And we're wearing the same clothes that we recorded the last one, so it's not like we batch record this
I literally thought about changing my shirt just to keep up the illusion. No. I literally thought about it, but you know, it's a good shirt. It's fine.
We all got lives. We get stuff for free. So I mean, you know,
right.
You're either gonna think that we live in the same clothes, like Doug, funny, from back in the day, or you're just. Yeah, what a reference, right?
Specificity.
Yeah,
I support the specificity.
And speaking of clothes, do you see how I did there?
Yeah.
So speaking of clothes, we're gonna be talking about a little streaming movie that I caught for the first time a couple weeks ago, called Slaxx. It's a Canadian horror movie about killer pants.
And first of all, you have to discuss your favorite thing in the world, Shudder.
Oh my god. Okay.
Where can one find Slaxx interwebs, Brian?
Well, I was going to say it's on Shudder. So Shudder, if you're listening, we are totally for sale. Just saying that right now.
We can be bought.
We can be absolutely bought. You want me to review one of your crappy horror movies that you bought the streaming rights to? I'll review them. I don't care how bad they are.
Crappy, how dare you?
How dare I? Well, I'm just saying, not every horror movie is built to quality.
The only thing I don't love about this format is that you guys can see me do the research in real time because I have my IMDb up. So,
well, you know, it's you know what? They're getting video here, okay?
True.
They're gonna have to deal with all sorts of weird shit. You said last time that you literally could see my soul come out of my face when you mentioned TikTok. They can have to deal with seeing you.
You're old.
See how it went out again? I gotta get it back. So yeah, I got Shudder for the first time about a month ago, and I got it mainly because of the fact that I've noticed through all of the streaming platforms that I have, and I have a couple. I have like Amazon Prime and Netflix and HBO Max, and the horror offerings on those are kind of shitty, like really kind of shitty. Some gems here and there, but for the most part, they're kind of shitty. I'd say Amazon Prime is probably as close to what you would get on Shudder to actually like decent horror films. A lot of old classics and then also some newer ones on there too. But for me, I wanted something that was dedicated to horror, and also too, like, it sounds horrible, but I wanted to see if there were series from like when I was a kid, like Tales from the Dark Side, which was on Shudder at one point. And I wanted to introduce that to my daughter because she likes horror movies now, not anything too crazy. The most she goes up to is Monster Squad, and she loves Monster Squad. But I was like, well, it'd be great if there was like Tales from the Dark Side, because that's not anything too crazy. It was on TV, so it had to be kind of pared down and what could be done for it. Maybe I can find some good episodes there. And sure enough, I find out that that's no longer on Shudder. But in this process, I had, got the subscription and found that I had missed out on so much.
A lot of content.
Amazing content.
I was surprised at how much, and a lot of documentary stuff that's really interesting, and just like a lot of cool stuff. Like, I mean, this is definitely what we would call an indie.
Slaxx. Oh yeah.
This movie makes me so happy.
So how first of all, how did you discover this one? Did you discover it just from me talking about it? Did you see it beforehand? Yeah.
I did. And it's funny because there's a couple of movies out there about killer clothes. You would not think that that would be like a market.
I didn't know that. You had told me that there was one about a dress that kills people.
Yeah, because it's on my to watch list. I have a list of movies that I want to watch. And like I said last episode, excuse me, I have a hard time sitting still right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's called In Fabric, and it's about a killer dress.
I'm going to write that down because I want to find it too.
And I think that one is quite serious.
Yeah.
Slaxx is not.
No.
Slaxx is amazing.
No.
But yeah, I'm having a hard time sitting still. For it used to be just to read, but it's also for movies as well. Yeah. That's how Brian's soul left talking about TikTok. Because I have a hard time like just not being on my phone and just like kind of sitting. I think it's just like residual pandemic issues. Oh, yeah. They say that we've all gotten really good at adapting to the pandemic, but now we're having a really hard time going back to how we were before. So
do we want to go back to how we were before? Because it wasn't too great before.
I miss buffets, Brian. I'm just kidding.
I could do without the buffets, honestly. This whole thing, and I think I mentioned this a couple of times on our podcast, that this whole thing has made me reassess things like buffets.
I mean, we used to be gross. I get it.
We used to be extremely gross.
We did.
First of all, I didn't realize this many people didn't wash their fucking hands. Like, did not realize that was something people had to learn how to do.
I try super hard not to think about it.
Yeah.
Really gross.
Yeah, really gross. Really gross.
No,
but anyway, I discovered Shudder, discovered all of the amazing content on there. I watched the movies that kill, like the cursed films. Watched that whole series, thought it was great. My wife was laughing at me during coming because she doesn't believe in any of that stuff. But surprisingly, she didn't know about the whole John Landis thing with Twilight Zone. And we had watched it, and we got to that part, and she's like, "Wait a minute, that was real?" I said, "Yeah,
it's such a tragedy.
It was real." And the real tragedy is that he's not in jail. But that's a story for another day.
His son's vile too.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He's a gaslighting, sexual assaulting piece of shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. All right. Well, runs in the family. But anyway, I'd seen a bunch of content on there. I watched a lot of movies that I had seen before, and I started watching a lot of the comedic horror movies because sometimes you're not necessarily in the mood for a heavy dose of blood and gore. I mean, I always am, but there are times when you're just like, I just want to find something that's funny that has some comedic elements to it, that has some horror elements to it. And I'd watched Scare Me, which is really good. Very funny. Yeah. And it has what's her face from The Boys. She plays the main Nazi supervillain in The Boys. But
I haven't caught that yet.
That's a good series too to watch.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's Amazon Prime. But I started watching a bunch of these comedic horror films, and I came across Slaxx, and I just saw the cover art for it, and it's literally these jeans that are strangling a woman, and Lauren and I are like, "What the fuck is this?" I'm so excited. And I put the trailer on for it. I'm just like, "Oh God, we got to watch this after Scare Me." So we watched it immediately after.
Did Lauren was like it?
She liked it, but at the same time, like her sense of humor, she's just like, "This is fucking stupid, but it's funny." Yeah.
I totally get you with comedy horror. I really love Happy Death Day.
I still haven't seen that.
I mean,
Lauren likes that. I haven't seen it.
I really think you'd like it. Just pretend you don't know who made it. It's really
hard for me to do that.
I know, but it's really funny. The lead actress is so good in it. I think you really would enjoy it. Just because it has like a nice edge to it of just, like we talk
Blumhouse edge.
No, we talk in the Loki episode of just like WTF. Like there's a nice sense of WTF in that movie. It's really funny. I think it's really funny. It is really funny. But it has that comedy to it where it's got horror elements to it, but it's mostly just gonna make you laugh. But no, we have to talk about Slaxx. It is so the tagline for Slaxx on Shudder, the dang it. It says like it has like the perfect tagline for the movie
His pants
itself.
could kill or something like that.
It says something like, darn
You're
it.
gonna find it. You're gonna find it.
It says like killer. And if it makes me log in again, I'm not doing it because I don't feel like it. Yeah, okay. It wants me to log in again. No. But it says like a pair of pants like start a killer rampage at a vapid clothing line. Basically, it's like the tagline for it.
Yeah.
And so what I took from this, basic premise, it was kind of bone chilling because I've worked retail for much more of my life than I would like to admit. And
I never worked clothing, so I can't. I can only relate to working in retail. I worked at a party city, and it was hell. I make no bones about it. But I can only imagine what working in either clothing
it is so much like that,
or food. Like food is the other one, food service.
It is so much like that movie, Brian.
Really?
So I worked for a family of brands that was famous in the 90s for their khaki commercials that rhymes with WAP.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I did not work at the WAP. I worked at a brand that rhymes with Shmanana Barublik. And it's crazy because the first time I worked there, I wasn't as bad as Libby's character. I wasn't.
You weren't an idealistic little, person.
Starstruck or like that, but I was not dead inside yet. I was like excited about the job, and like I only worked there a few hours a week. It was where I was earning money when I was doing my internship.
Yeah.
But like I gave a crap.
Yeah.
Cared.
Yeah.
Totally cared. The next time I worked for said company, I had been a bartender for over a year. And when you have a job where you can tell people how horrible they are in so many words, there's no going back from that. It is the greatest job. Like, it's not the greatest job, but like that's the greatest part of the job where you can.
I would think the vomitous drunk thing might be the downside of that, and then on top of that, you've told me stories about. I didn't do vomit. Right, but I'm just saying, like, you've told me stories about the people that you worked for at said bar thing, and that part wasn't that great.
Suboptimal, but being able to cut people off, being able to like, you're the worst human being and I'm not serving you. That was awesome. Petty power was awesome.
Yeah.
And then having to work for that high-end clothing brand after the fact.
Yeah.
Didn't work out. And I was real dead inside the second time around. So
see, I worked with the party city I worked in. I don't have a problem saying that I worked at a party city. I think
everyone's gonna crack the code that I set up.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say which one, but the thing is like I love the idea of working at a place that also did stuff for Halloween. And yes, it was a job that, paid me money, and there are much worse jobs out there. But again, you're dealing with people that truthfully are complaining about the color of plates. And complaining that you don't have a certain color. Like, I literally remember a person saying, why don't you ever have brown plates? The other store has brown plates. And we're like, then go to the other store. We don't have it.
Nobody wants brown plates.
Nobody wants brown plates. You want shit plates? Because that's literally what you're getting, is shit plates. Or my favorite was Halloween time. Now, you want to talk about places that made you dead inside? Working at a party city, Halloween time actually made me hate Halloween.
Brian, no.
I hated that season for a whole year because of the fact that I had worked with people and worked with customers who quite literally were the devil.
Brian, no.
I'm talking about soccer moms that complained about the fact that their costumes wouldn't fit because, I'm sorry to tell you all this, and I'm a big person, okay? I'll be the first to say that. I am not a skinny person. I am a big man. But costumes are not made for us. They just aren't. They're not made for us. And I'm talking about the normal standard sizes. plus size, yeah, that's good for you. But the standard costumes, they always run small.
Oh yeah, they're teeny tiny, and they're all manufactured overseas, which makes them tiny.
So,
oh my God,
when we would literally see people try on these costumes, and they would rip, and then they're like, "Well, why? Well, yes, this must be bad material." I'm like, "No, we want to say it's because your fat ass is sitting in it." Like, I'm sorry, but we can't say that.
I mean, they're a little cheap, but mostly
they're actually not cheap. Those costumes are expensive as all hell.
Oh yeah, they're not made well, but they're really expensive.
They're expensive. Well, some of them actually are made pretty well. But like we actually had a scenario where people would steal these Playboy costumes, because Playboy sells a brand of costumes, and they would steal the underwear out of these costumes. And these costumes retail for like $150 a pop.
Do I even want to know what they did with the underwear?
No.
Asking for a friend.
Some of them would return the costume later, and we didn't want to know what happened to them. We'd throw them out. Like, we were literally like, what are we gonna do? Put this? We knew what was going on.
I mean, I don't know. I just want some ideas. I have student loans. Just need some ideas on what to do with the underwear. That's all.
I mean, OnlyFans is a thing. So
right? Oh my God, OnlyFans. That's how I'm.
There you go. There you go. But
that is my idea.
But like, that was the closest I got to dealing with clothing, or that sort of shit.
Well, I will tell you right now, it is so very much like the movie Slaxx.
Really?
So the way that this movie's set up, there is this brand called the CCC.
Yep.
The Canadian Cotton. Damn it. What's it? The Canadian Cotton.
Something.
Okay.
It's like some sort of like
okay, here we go.
Like a co-op.
Yeah. Because it is a Canadian film, so it does take place in Canada. But it's nickname, the show's nickname is the CCC. Or the store's nickname is the CCC, excuse me. But it's, for me, I did a little bit of looking into this just to kind of get like a true sense of this. But I took from the actual movie that it was kind of a mixture of The Gap with, some of the elements. The Gap, American Apparel, and then Madewell. And Madewell may not be familiar to everybody, but they definitely hit the whole sustainably sourced, and American Apparel says they don't use sweatshops either. Okay.
Okay.
But Madewell especially, I feel like Madewell is the model for this because of the price point.
Really?
This movie was made in like 2020. Because I looked at the jeans on Madewell's website, $128 for a pair of jeans. No thanks.
Nope.
I would like to say that most of everything I bought this year is from Poshmark. So I have bought jeans for like $20 that used to belong to someone else. So I am not in this space of like sustainable.
I mean, technically that is sustainable if you think about it. You are buying from someone else that would have been either thrown out or something like that. So
my carbon footprint is actually quite low, because then for special occasions I do rent gowns or like dresses I rent. Though I will say I have been buying a few things from I don't know if you say it's Shein or Shine, and they are not probably great for the environment or for the human race. But there is no ethical consumerism on capitalism. Everything is garbage. Everything is garbage. So, but like I said, I try to offset it with much better practices. But this movie really makes you think about where your stuff comes from and the choices that you make as a consumer. It's difficult to make good choices, as I was reminded of the Good Place, how hard it is to be a good person, because the decisions you make are so multifaceted and like branch out in so many different ways. But this company's full of shit, basically. They are not sustainable. They can't track where their stuff is made. They don't have records of the employees. And we find this out later, that it's just a bunch of bullshit. But this is how this company's presented. And I guess it's the CEO that comes to visit while the team at this particular store that has just gotten a new employee, Libby, he's come to do a presentation while they're doing an overnight floor set.
Yeah. Is that a real thing, by the way?
Floor sets? Oh yeah, and they're
So,
done
but
overnight.
is it done overnight like that?
It's done overnight. Absolutely. Yeah, you would clock in probably at 9 p.m. like Libby did, and you wouldn't stay till 8 a.m. I wouldn't think, unless it was a really big floor set. I didn't typically do that as a rule. I didn't do floor sets as a rule. I would have to ask a friend that's done them before to see if they would do all night. I would think your shift would have to be 9 to 4, like 4 a.m. I don't think you'd be allowed to stay almost 12 hours. I don't think, unless you were like at a higher level, but I don't know. Because for me, when I did retail, I did usually do it like in the summer or like part-time. Like I didn't do like full-time hours. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you for that, but no, floor sets, 100% overnight. And since it's Canada, it was for Monday Madness. I don't know if that's a real holiday over there, but obviously it seemed comparable to like American Black Friday.
Oh, okay.
That was my assumption.
Yeah,
Again,
I was assuming it was kind of like that too. You know,
yeah,
Black
again, I
Friday.
don't know. Again, I don't know for sure if that's the case, but they're trying to do this floor set of the new line of all their clothes at this store, including this new denim called the Super Shapers. And it's supposed to be this like sisterhood of the traveling pants bullshit that no matter what you weigh, like they look great on you. I believe they were supposed to be unisex jeans as well.
Yes. Yeah.
And so they're supposed to look amazing on everybody.
They're the pants that should not exist because let's be honest here, pants are one of those things that it's hard to find good ones. It's hard to find good ones that look great on you.
It is hard to find jeans that look
jeans
good.
Yeah.
Because if they fit your ass, they gap at the waist at the back. You know, I mean, like anybody who's listening to this podcast, I am sure has had problems finding jeans. They're impossible.
Yeah.
They're impossible.
It's difficult for me to find jeans.
It's crap.
Yeah.
I mean, jeans, I just found a pair. Oh, I didn't do Poshmark. I found a pair of TJ Maxx.
Okay.
And they don't have dressing rooms right now.
It's kind of weird.
And
I get it.
I rolled the dice and I got away with it.
That's dangerous.
I got away with it though. They fit. They fit. And for me, I'm not very tall. I'm like 5'4 3/4. And they weren't too long.
Wow.
Which that's usually my problem. I usually, when I buy pants, like sight unseen, they flood me. And they were fine. So
there you go.
Yeah.
But this, this film, the pants themselves, you get the feeling the pants are of a mind of their own. You're like, I thought like, oh, well, they're haunted or something like that.
Right.
And we get moments in the beginning of the film of obviously a person working in a cotton field for.
That's where we kind of open the film, that the cotton for the jeans is being picked.
And I know when I watched it, I was like, how does this have anything to do with the trailer from the film? Because I watched the trailer and I'm like, what does this have to do with it? And then you get an idea of kind of how it all fits together as the story progresses.
Yeah, well, and the conditions for a lot of how clothing is made are super, super poor.
Yeah.
Do you remember the whisker jeans that were like really popular?
Yes.
That's done by sandblasting, and it's really dangerous for the workers that do it.
Oh, geez.
They sandblast the pattern. There's like a stencil, I think.
Yeah.
Or some way that they bunch the fabric to create the pattern, and they sandblast it. It's super dangerous because usually it's not regulated.
Of course not. Why would it be regulated?
What fun would that be? But yeah, so this store is trying to do this floor set. The store manager, Craig,
he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Anyone who's worked in retail has definitely worked for a Craig. Let me tell you that. I can name. Yeah. I think his name was actually Craig. I've definitely.
His name was actually Craig.
Jesus Christ. And so he's trying to keep everything like together, and as the employees keep going missing because these jeans like keep literally killing them. I mean,
they're literally eating people
because it's not played for laughs, but it leans into its ridiculousness, which is it's the only way the film works, which I think.
Oh yeah, there's no way that this movie would work if it wasn't played for laughs. If they try to do this as serious, it would not work at all. I think so. You kind of have to have the Craig character literally say, "Oh well, we'll just cover this up. It's no big deal. It's no big deal." Blah blah blah. And that's what he does. And if you didn't have that, if you had someone who was like horrified and then calling the cops, it wouldn't work. So as much as I hate him, He has to be
Oh
there.
yeah. Well, and two, I'm certain that the people that worked on this film have definitely worked retail because they knew everything, like having like the earpiece in your ear, talking to the other employees, having like the certain sections. A big thing in retail is that if you're in a certain section of the store, you can't leave.
Really?
That's if the store's open. You can't leave. But that really, with the ecosystems, that like totally rang true to me, because if you have a certain section of the store, if you're like the greeter, you better find shit to fold in the front of the store because you're not leaving.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it was. When I worked the second time around in brick and mortar, I remember I had a really bad cold, and I was on the second floor of the store. There was nobody on the floor, and the cold medicine had made me so tired.
Wow.
And I just sat for a second because there was a ottoman where you could try shoes on.
Yeah.
And I got sent home because I sat down.
Jesus.
You weren't allowed to sit.
Yeah, see, I worked freight, so like I was literally just pushing carts of overpriced party crap around. That's literally what I was doing.
A lot of people opt to do stuff like that. A lot of people work only floor sets because they're that good at it.
Right.
But I'll tell you, I can't walk into a store without like folding something if it's out of place. It's bad. It's really bad. Or like finger spacing hangers on a rack. Like I can't help myself.
Oh my God.
With me for life. But the jeans go after the first woman because she steals a pair. Basically, the employee steals a pair. Yeah. And then the second woman goes looking for the first woman. She gets like enchanted a little bit by the jeans. And each time the jeans need less and less contact with the person to murder them.
Yeah.
And
gaining
like
power.
It's so amazing, you guys. Like it doesn't sound good, but it is.
It sounds terrible when we're talking about it, but I'm telling you.
It sounds actually kind of stupid, and it's not. Really genius.
The only movie I can think about that this kind of comes similar to it is a movie called Deathbed. Have you ever heard of Deathbed?
Oh my God, the bed that kills people?
The bed that eats. Like this bed literally eats people.
It's kind of like that, like because the jeans like lap up blood, like
yes.
And I think one of the other things that works is it's not overly gory for a lot of the deaths. The first two, you see a little bit of blood, but like the when Gemma dies, and then when was the second girl? Was her name Hunter?
I think it was Peyton. No, Peyton.
Peyton was later. Peyton was the influencer.
Oh yeah.
The second girl who died, her death, like she got like knocked into a hook. Yeah. And all you see is just, again, like a hand go limp, a little bit of blood. They were very intentional, I think, about a lot of the deaths in this piece. And that I thought was like very well done.
Craig got the worst of it.
Oh my God. It was so good.
Craig literally.
I cracked up laughing.
Beautiful job.
Chef's.
Beautiful job.
But yeah, I mean, our main character, our final girl, if you will, Libby, she's the new hire. She's like all about this place. She's like, oh, I really love what you're doing. The CEO, Harold, I literally had to look him up because I was like, this asshole looks so familiar. My Umbrella Academy friends, we'll know him as Carl.
Okay.
Been from season 2. When Vanya is living on the farm, he is Carl. He looks very different.
I saw a couple episodes of Umbrella Academy. I didn't watch the full thing. I
know.
I
feel like you'd love it. I feel like you'd love it.
I couldn't get into it.
That's the incorrect answer. You need to watch all of it. I think you'd love it.
I know. People have said that about a lot of shows to me.
I think you'd love it. I really do.
Right.
It's so.
I might have to give it another go.
It's so good. It's because, and I think that the first few episodes, like the first 2, it's like, what is happening?
Right.
For Umbrella, I mean, it's really intense, but once you get past that, it's addicting, really.
Okay.
But Carl is the CEO, but his name's Harold. But Libby's our main character. She's just been hired, and she's and just like the stuff they take her through, like technically you don't start at 12:01, so you don't get your employee discount yet, and like you have to wear the clothes of the store. Like that's all true. Most places, wow. I mean. Now, for when I worked, you didn't have to wear the clothes, but they had to be banana-like.
Okay.
And I literally had people come up to me and be like, "How do you shop here? You clearly don't fit in the clothes." Thanks.
Oh,
Thanks, guys. I am in a Banana Republic skirt, but okay. Cool. Thanks.
oh man.
People are vile. People are vile.
Yes, they are.
Because this was 2010.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, they go up to like size 18, but thanks guys. It's cool.
Wow. And the fact you didn't smack them is amazing.
The restraint you have to show. I mean, my life of retail has made me a very patient person. But
the only thing I had similar to that was every once in a while I would work cashier, because that was pretty much what you did at Party City. You were a freight person, you did cashier, and then you jumped in doing balloons. I hated doing cashier. I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to talk to people. I didn't want to talk to people.
And I love talking to people. I don't want to.
Well, I love talking to people. I don't want to talk to those people. I don't want to talk to Party City people, like customers there. I don't want to talk to them. Because so anyway, the only experience I have similar to that was I had a mom literally tell her kid, "Now, this is why you go to college," pointing to me.
What an asshole.
Oh, yeah.
People are vile, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah. And I wanted to say, "Lady, I'm in college.
Yeah.
We have to earn a living somehow."
Yeah, right? Oh my God. So disgusting.
Not all of us can be trophy wives. But
is that still on the table though? Because like doesn't seem like a bad occupation. I think you'd make a lovely trophy wife, Brian.
Tell Lauren that.
Well, you're very pretty.
Thank you. But anyway,
but if he wants to go to the cops after she finds the first dead body, Craig is like, "No, I have my eye on the regional manager position."
Because that's
I mean, he's insane, but like I have definitely experienced that energy. I've experienced Craig energy before.
Craig energy.
It surprised me for a second, honestly, because like there's just and honestly, I want to show this film to like everybody I know that's worked in the brick and mortar retail environment because they would get it. But the jeans go on like their blood rampage.
They go on a murder. They kill Peyton Jules, who's a influencer on a live stream. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" And it's glorious.
He slaughters the jeans slaughter like the entire room of people who are doing the floor set.
Yeah.
Then it's down to Libby and one of Sharit, one of the other employees, and then Craig. And so so this is where it went a little off the rails when like a mannequin got pulled in to like the possession of the jeans.
Yes.
That went a little off the rails for me, but then I was like, no, you bought it just fine when it was possessed jeans. Like, slow your roll.
That's the thing into that didn't bother me too much because that's at the point where we start to realize a little bit of the backstory of these jeans. And we find out that in fact, that beginning thing with the cotton field and the worker for the jeans, actually she was a 13-year-old cotton worker in India who Karat. And she fell into a cotton gin and died.
Trapped.
Trapped.
And murdered.
And murdered, basically.
And they must have used the cotton anyway, which is disgusting.
Yeah. So to make a long story short, basically we find out that she's the one possessing the jeans.
Because her
she's killing everybody.
Cotton, but it's also genetically modified cotton.
That too.
That part. Yeah. I think that's important.
It's important, but it's also kind of like haunted.
It explains why I think like it's possessed.
Yeah.
It's not organic, Brian.
No, it's not. It's not. Got to make that distinction. So Libby and Shirley and Craig are all trying to kind of like negotiate with the pants and
so Karat, the pants.
Yeah.
Tries to tell a story, and Libby and Sharat are trying to say, okay, we'll tell your story. Like, will you stop killing if we tell your story? And Craig's like, but regional manager though, and like
Right.
hoses her down with a fire extinguisher and makes her mad again. And then the rest of the pants that obviously contain that cotton come to life and try to fork Craig up.
Yeah.
It is genius. So Craig's trying to get this video camera that the girls have that have recorded a lot of this to this point. And he kills Charit. And then the pants come after him. And they like just eat his carcass.
They
Like
eat his carcass in the most glorious way possible.
He's like a flesh skeleton at the end. And
It
it's
is,
so
and it makes up for some of the lack of gore, as we said. And I think that was intentional because they really wanted to just kind of only really make it for the people who really deserve it, you know. And Craig really deserves it.
And it was good.
Yeah,
I
and
like how
and
intentional it was.
and at the end, we think that Libby, our final girl, is going to get away, and she tries to tell Karat, "Hey, this isn't who you are. This is what." The problem is that Libby's wrong because Karat is reacting to the system that killed her. And the system that killed her are consumers that are able to spend all this money on pants and not question where it came from. So that's what Libby doesn't understand.
And these customers are like foaming at the mouth for these new jeans. They're dying to get into the store. It's 8 a.m. And she's trying to keep them from getting in the store, from being killed. And they're the ones that kill her. She falls over, she hits her head, and
trampled.
She's bleeding, trampled. And I thought that that was a really nice touch.
It was.
That she wasn't killed by the pants. She was killed by the consumers. I thought that just like Karat. I thought that was a really interesting. There have been times when I thought that retail was also going to kill me. So Libby, same. There's one part too where where Craig has Libby and he's trying to wrestle the SD card from her for the video camera, and she's like, "It's just clothes." And when I worked in a call center for an e-retail store, we used to say that all the time. We used to say, "It's just dresses on the internet." That was hands down the most stressful job I've ever had. People were so mean. People got so upset over dresses on the internet. And I mean, I would have to remind myself all the time that nobody died when their shit didn't come in time.
I had to deal with that with an alarm system company that I worked for.
At least alarm systems are kind of important.
Yeah, but the thing is, people who called over what I would argue is dumb shit. Like my alarm system's beeping, and ultimately we find out it's not their alarm system at all. It is a smoke alarm.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Did not get its battery changed.
That
was a lot. There was a lot of times that would be the thing. We'd say, "Well, did you check your battery on your smoke alarm?" "No, it's got to be the alarm system." "Sir, I'm telling you, it's not, because I'm looking at your alarm system right now. It's not. Go check your." And then we say, "Oh, it was a smoke alarm." So every one of these jobs has that kind of thing to it.
But I mean, a few of us had like Post-its on our computers that said dresses on the internet, because sometimes we needed to be reminded. It was hands down the most stressful job I've ever had.
Oh man.
But that's very poetic that the customers killed Libby.
But Slaxx, it's a hell of a film. If you're in the mood for a comedic horror film that it brings both. It really does bring both. It brings both the comedy and the horror, and it does have a message that I don't think the message, just like with I mentioned last week, Falcon Winter Soldier. I don't think this is nearly as preachy as that either. It's a little bit more, but it's done in a way that makes sense. It doesn't take away from the plot.
I think it really makes you think. Like you really have to think about where things come from, and that's the cost. If you're gonna kind of go for less reputable companies, who are maybe, more known for putting more of a strain on the environment, or maybe not treating their workers super well. It's something that, you take a chance on. You have to be careful.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Well, Slaxx is on Shudder, so go and check it out if you've got Shudder. It's a good time to watch that.
If you've worked retail, guys, it'll hit so hard. It's so fun.
Yeah. Laine, where can they find you on all your social medias?
On my socials, you can find me at _Lady Laine _
on the TikToks.
Yep.
On the Instagrams.
On the gram, on the Twitter machine.
All of them.
I was off Twitter for like 3 months, and I came back and I missed 2 tweets.
Well, should have been on. I guess those 2 tweets really,
I don't feel love, guys. I don't feel love. Bye.
Awesome. You can find me at Brian Cottington. I also run the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Psycho Show. Be sure to check out this show from the concession stand on YouTube. That's where we got our video section. And if you like a certain thing on streaming that you want us to know about, contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. If you have a favorite movie, you want to check out our main show, that's Cinema Psycho Show on all of your audio players. Be sure to subscribe and follow us wherever you listen to audio, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.